What is up? What is up? What is up? Let's go ahead and pray. I thank you that I know who I am, what I want, where I'm going, and how to get there. I thank you for blessing me with a soul family that sees me, knows me, loves me, guides me, corrects me, and protects me along this journey. I thank you for everything inside of me and everything that surrounds me. I thank you for everything I've been, everything I am, everything I will be. I thank you for everything I've gone through, everything I'm going through, and everything I will get through. I thank you, and in your powerful, wonderful, amazing, and precious name I pray. Amen. Okay, so what is up, creations and creators? I am Patrice Renee of Divine Operation University, aka Do You, a learning environment for all of us world changers who are tired of supposed to, where we create the lives that are really on our hearts and in the process leave the world more beautiful than we found it. Okay. So now that all of that is out of the way, y'all can see I'm in a new little spot. Not too far away from where I normally am. I'm usually sitting right here. But today I have moved a little lower because I'm trying to use my laptop to see what happens when we do our live from a different format. In addition, a couple weeks ago, I said that I was going to be recording my I was going to be recording my Clarity Convo in an effort to start a podcast because I find that some people would rather listen in than to watch a video, which for me personally, I just let things play while I put my phone up on the dashboard or whatever in the little holder, and I let videos play the same way I would listen to a podcast. But not everybody is that innovative. So, or you just don't want to run down your battery or whatever the case. I know, I know. Okay, so I'm trying to record it for that reason. So I was using my phone for that because the last time I tried to do it on my laptop, the laptop cut off, and so I didn't record anything but the first 4 minutes of our conversation. And we can't have that. 4 minutes does not a podcast make. Well, I guess it does in some instances, right? There are some that are really short. Okay, so we're not talking about podcasts right now. So forget about that. I just feel so, I don't know, y'all. And I apologize in advance if you see any craziness in my teeth. I was just eating on some Cheez-Its because y'all know my window starts at 12 o'clock. And so I like to get it started as soon as 12 o'clock hits. So that's what I did. And I apologize in advance if you're seeing the evidence of that. But anyway, how was your week? How has your week been? How have y'all been doing? What's been going on? What is up? What is up? I don't even think, because I'm doing it from my laptop, I don't see. Okay, there it is. Dang, this is so weird. Okay. So there we go. Okay. So yeah, how's your week been? How's it been going? How are things? How's life? All that jazz. I myself have started and finished. Well, I guess I didn't start this past week, but I finished the anime Demon Slayer upon recommendation from a new friend. And I'm very happy that I watched it. Honestly, I think that I am a fan of anime storylines, like the way that, to me, by my interpretation, a lot of the stories are about internal worlds, even though they're reflected in like internal and spiritual, right? Even though it's reflected as like this person fighting all these battles and avenging somebody or seeking revenge, whatever the case. That's what we're watching. But to me, it feels very much like they're depicting internal struggles and what's happening on the inside in a very visceral way that like people can connect to the visuals of. They're just, anyway, it makes sense to me because it is based in Japanese culture, which is community oriented, so there's themes of that always. Is very disciplined, especially in like the martial arts world. I guess that's true across all forms of martial arts. There's discipline and there's principles that are required in order to practice it holistically, right? And so I think all of that is reflected in the works, right? In these animes, even though it's just a cartoon, even though it's meant to be something that's like just kind of entertainment and throw it away, to me, the themes that I've been able to pick up on in these works, and probably because it's just embedded in the culture, is that there's like, you know, spiritual elements to it. There's practical elements to it. So I love it. I really enjoy it. And Demon Slayer in particular really speaks to that point, because what I have found is that the demons that are being slayed are actually mindsets and thought processes and, you know, narratives that are being played out in our minds. And so the people that are overcome by those narratives and really lean into them and live their lives believing in the truth of those narratives, or that there's truth in those narratives, they end up becoming these demons, right? And so our protagonist, our demon slayer, goes around killing them essentially, but the way in which he does it is with reverence, with respect. He's very polite. Like, you gotta watch it and then we'll talk about it. Just watch it. It's on, the first season is on Netflix. Apparently the subsequent seasons are even better, so I'm excited about this journey that I'm on. Other things that happened this week, I have been eating less, and it's, I won't go as far as to say concerning. It's just different, that I just haven't had the same appetite that I once had, and I've felt that going down over time. I guess just getting smaller, having a smaller stomach, just physiologically. Having a smaller stomach means that I eat a little bit less, but now the frequency has changed. I feel like my awareness of hunger and my relationship to hunger and food in and of itself has changed, and those two things were definitely intentional. So I'm thankful to see the effects of that. That's always good. At least the effects of that intentional effort. But it is annoying to not be able to eat as much as I want or as often as I want, because I'm still working on that relationship to food. You know what I mean? I'm still working on it. But as of right now, I could see how things are different. A way in which I think I should be able to, I guess, earn more food and more space for food is to do more physical activity, because I feel like if I move more, then I'll burn more energy and then my body will require more, right? So then that would coincide and align with my goals to like be more active, to be outside more, to just move my body in general. So I think it's beneficial twofold. We get to kill two birds with one stone. I'm trying to figure out how to communicate that it's all connected. How's that? How about I just say it? Who'd have thunk? Just say it. It's all connected, and I love being able to find the thread and be able to see how things are being interconnected, interwoven when it comes to my journey, my goals, my desires for my life, and how my practices are unfolding just in their own way. It's exciting. So I thought I would share that a little bit with you, even though I'm presenting it as something that's annoying because it doesn't align with like my desire to eat or my want to eat whatever I want when I want or whatever. But my desire to be healthy and to hear and understand my body and to go through processes and practices that affect change and allow me to grow closer in that relationship with my body. All of those things, the deeper underlying things that I truly want and truly desire, those things are happening for me. And so that's exciting. And then, what else? Oh, so last night I was reminded heavily of my nervous tick, which now that I'm being aware of it, y'all are gonna see my eyes go everywhere. But I have a nervous tick that I'm sure you've noticed if you've been around long enough, that I blink a lot, and I've correlated it finally to my talking to someone new or sharing new ideas. Okay, so when there's unfamiliarity, I will then start to blink a lot and really hard, and I do not like it. I wish I was like able to just twiddle my thumbs or, pinch myself or something like that, something that I could kind of hide. But if you're talking to somebody face to face, even doing these lives, and you just start blinking uncontrollably, then people take notice. And so I have developed or decided to start looking around, and even slowing down my speech pattern has absolutely helped me to get a little bit more control. But I found myself doing that last night on the phone, so the person couldn't even see me, and I wasn't aware of what was happening until I started getting the headache, because that's usually how it goes. I don't even realize it until my head starts hurting from the hard blinks. And then I'm like, oh crap, I'm doing that thing. So I am in the process of working through my nervous tics, but they came back with a vengeance this past week, which, working on it. We'll see what happens. So yeah, that's been my week. Hope all is well with y'all. Hope y'all are, reviewing things. We talked about a few things last month. The cards came up with a few things last month, so let's discuss. We had what's your mind telling you? You have the answers they need. Offer a helping hand today. Be proud of you. Mutter a mantra, and where's the water? We had a lot of cards come in last week. But what I got from each of them, mostly, let's see, for the first four, what is your mind telling you? You have the answers they need. Offer a helping hand today, and be proud of you. The first two opposites, right? So what I got was, what's your mind telling you? What I've been saying is like, whatever my mind is telling me, turn it down, right? Don't turn it off, but turn it down and be in the moment. Be present in the moment. You have the answers they need. Again, opposite. I've been telling myself to keep it to yourself, right? Not lean so much into believing that you have answers for other people, because I do find myself struggling to disconnect from someone else's struggle. This is another reason why I haven't fully pursued everything that I need to pursue with Do You, because I find that it's hard for me to disconnect from someone else's story. So until I have more of a handle on that, and that handle will definitely come as I continue to practice that with clients, I understand that. But on a level, on one level, there's an element of saying I need to have an awareness and a handle to an extent on my need to connect so deeply with other people's stuff that I feel the need to interject, right? So telling myself that you don't have the answers, Sway, right? John Sway Snow over here. I know nothing, and I don't have the answers. So reminding myself that I don't have the answers that they need, or that they want, or that they're ready to hear at this moment in time, even if I do have the answers they need, maybe whoever I'm talking to isn't quite able to receive it. So learning to just turn it off, disconnecting, stop inserting myself into other people's stuff, and just hearing whatever it is that they're saying, and responding as someone that is outside of the situation. I know it sounds obvious, right? But as a helper, as a healer, as a teacher, as someone who desires to do this as my life's work, it is difficult for me to disconnect and just I don't want to go as far as to say allow people to make their own choices, because I've developed that muscle. It's just disconnecting to the point where I don't have to say something. I don't have to speak, right? Just some people want to just vent, which I understand and I don't think I have an issue with. This is specifically referring to people that come to me for advice. How's that? How about I do that? So I understand that there are different scenarios in which people come to you and wanting to talk and stuff. Some people just want to get it out. They don't actually want feedback or anything like that. So I can definitely work through that. That's fine. It's just people that are coming to me to talk to me for what I have to offer, not giving everything, because even if they say out of their mouth that's what they want, I'm realizing that that's not true. People may not understand exactly what it is that they're asking for. So maybe I need to work through starting with not saying anything and then start to work up to my full strength in my powers. Let's call them that, huh? Practiced powers at that. So then we have offer a helping hand today. Again, same vein, kind of pulling back, not offering, right? So like I said, these for me have been the opposite. Not necessarily offering, extending a hand, maybe just knowing that that hand is out there, maybe offering a helping hand of someone to you know, out of my life or out of my world, my sphere. Understanding that what I have to offer, who I am and what I'm doing, and all of the things that are attached to me, you may no longer be a part of. So maybe just like releasing people, offering a helping hand of to them to release and give them permission to go on about their lives and do whatever it is that they want to do, because clearly we are no longer in alignment, kind of thing. That's kind of been happening this past week. Being proud of myself, I guess I can pat myself on the back for doing that one. Muttering a mantra. I told y'all last week that mine would be the positive is just as likely, and that has definitely continued to be my mantra, because it is very much necessary to flip that script and make sure that I am looking towards what could be as opposed to what it isn't, or what I don't have, or what this the negative version of the way that things could turn out, right? Releasing all of that. And then where's the water? Still drinking a good amount of water, and yeah, other than that, I can't say that I did anything specifically surrounding water, even though we got that 2 weeks in a row. So I probably should have done more. Every time I say water, I always end up drinking, but subconscious, she works hard. All right, so we talked about that. I hope y'all were reminded of those things throughout the week. Hopefully there's a connection that you were able to make to your week, to what we were called to reflect on. So now that we got all of that out of the way, now that the housekeeping is done, we've cleaned up, pushed some things around. Now we've got a comfortable spot to sit in, to talk, discuss. Let's get into it, okay? Let's get some clarity. So one thing that came up for me this week was around my productivity. And I know that I talked to you guys about that before. And I've kind of transitioned productivity into consistency, right? So I've been struggling to feel productive for a while now, and I asked myself, like we said last week, we were supposed to be doing interviews, right? So not this past week that we just finished, but the one before that, we were supposed to be interviewing ourselves. And so I've gotten to the practice of that, and I interviewed myself surrounding my feelings and just everything that I'm thinking surrounding the pursuit pillar, work, career, all of those things, right? And what is it that I have such a disdain for? Why does it make me feel the way that it makes me feel? And I came to productivity because I'm like, oh, I'm not productive enough. So I said, what is it that you want to produce? Why don't you feel productive? What is it that you want to produce? I essentially was like coaching myself the same way that I would with someone else. So what is it that you want to produce? I want to, in Blackberry Handmade, I want to be able to make sales. And in Divine Operation University, I also want to make sales, and I want to have ideas. I want to have a constant flow of ideas, okay? So if I could just do those things, I would feel more productive. And my response to that was, well, in Blackberry Handmade, you have made sales, right? And immediately it was like, yeah, but they're not consistent. Okay, so now we're getting somewhere, right? So why is consistency important to you? I'm walking out through this whole interview, right? Why is consistency important to you? Well, because then it would afford me the ability to predict and plan, right? So if I am consistently producing sales, right, I'm able to predict, you know, more easily predict what could be down the line, right? And I could feel confident in saying, this is what I am, this is who I am, because I know that I can produce these kinds of results because I've consistently been able to do so, right? Or I can plan to go out and do things because I know that I can make sales and make that money back. Or I can plan to think bigger and push myself out of my comfort zone because I know that I have a consistent foundation to fall back on if things like that don't seem to work out. And so there's a lot of if thens in that conversation. If I just do this, then I can. And I know that that leans into the same language as supposed to and should, right? And these are the things that we're working to release. And so why is it that I believe that I have to have in order to, right? This is something that I've been working to release overall. And I think this journey just sends you throughout your whole life, through the whole wilderness of your life and your experience, to tackle and dismantle and break down any and every place where you have these should, supposed to's, if thens happening. If thens. I don't know why I'm saying then. Anyway, so I find myself resisting maybe that this is even an option, that this is even what it is that I'm going through, because it's like, no, you know better than to think that if you have consistency, then that's the only way that you can be successful or feel like you own a business. And you're out of order, essentially, right? So I need to reflect on calling myself a business owner, a businesswoman. I need to reflect on planning, making those plans regardless of what is happening in my current situation, because that is the work that I do. That is what I teach, right? Being able to have faith enough to decide this is what I want, or to know who you are, right? I know myself to be a businesswoman. I know that I can do this, right? Even if currently I haven't been tested on those skills and abilities, I know that I'm capable based on just knowing myself and things that I have accomplished. I know that I can then, what is it? Give me the word. What is the word? I can transfer my skills, my proven skills and abilities into this area of my life and achieve the results that I want to achieve. I know myself and I know what I want, right? That consistency, that productivity, that booming business, if you want to call it that, whatever we call it, I know what I want. And so being able to move within those bounds freely and openly is what is going to get me to where it is that I'm going. I know that how I'll get there is with faith, is with grace, and all of those things coming together is the work, is what's going to get me to where it is that I want to be, is the answer that I'm looking for, right? Zoomed out that far, I can see it all. It's super clear. But zooming in and living it and walking in the wilderness in that way with this particular mindset and with these particular struggles and this particular experience, right? All of the particulars added together make it so that I'm still standing here despite knowing it, knowing what it is that I need to know in order to make it through. That I still stand here feeling like I'm not enough, essentially. And so we have to go back into reminding, right? At the end of the interview, at the end of uncovering all of those things, I have to go back into reminding myself of who it is that I am, focusing in on what it is that I want, and then being present with each day, knowing that those things are in alignment, right? That I am in alignment with those things, working towards becoming in alignment with those things. So wherein I know that I'm a businesswoman and I know that I have transferable skills currently, there's still some things I can do to bridge the gap, right? To ensure that I'm being the kind of businesswoman that I want to be. And so part of that for me has always been definitions, defining what is a business, what is a businesswoman, what does she do, what does her life look like, why, and all those things, all those questions that I tend to ask myself when it comes to everything. So much fun. It's great. It's amazing. You should try. Just not only participating in that practice, right? In those reflections and understanding of self, but allowing that to be my production, allowing that to be what I produce consistently. Because if I'm creating a consistent practice of those things and I incorporate that practice into everything that I'm producing, do I not end up becoming consistent in my production? Right? If you take, this is another thing that happened in the last couple of weeks. Bruh, my nose is on fire. There must be spirit is in the building. Okay, so if you are using the question to form the answer, right? That's what I was about to get into. Use the question to form the answer. So right now I'm saying, why am I not more consistent and productive? So maybe if and add the additional information. So I'm not more consistent and productive because I'm not currently practicing, or I'm not currently consistent in my practice in order to produce something like that. Hopefully the thread is there enough for you all to follow where I'm going, but I'm a little bit distracted and also trying to formulate it as we're talking, right? Because that's what clarity is for. That's what we do. So we'll stop there because that's where I'm at with that. But then moving along, I also had this thought about reevaluating after the hard conversation. So I talked to you guys last week about the fact that I was having these hard conversations with people wherein I'm telling them that, maybe we need to reevaluate what it is that we're doing. We need to reassess how this interaction, this relationship is going, because based on what it is that I want, desire, deserve, I don't feel like I'm getting that under these current conditions. And essentially these conversations were just about like, hey, this is the title that you're claiming, but these are the requirements that I have for this title. And it doesn't feel as though you're meeting them. So here's what I'm going to do, right? So moving forward, I'm going to have to change some things, do a little housekeeping here so that we're on the same page. So you're not able to meet the requirements of this title, but as of right now, you meet the requirements of this membership level, so it's fine. It's fine. You can keep doing what it is that you're doing. I'm just putting you on game that things for me on my end are changing, right? These were the conversations that I was having. Unfortunately, not unfortunately, I think that they went fine. I communicated what it is that I set out to communicate, and what they got from it is what they got from it. As far as I'm concerned, everybody feels like they're on the same page as me. I don't know if that's the case, but they think so. And like I said, I had to learn to let it be, right? I said what I needed to say, because part of the reason why I need to learn that is because I do have a tendency to continuously have a conversation with people in hopes that I can explain it in a way that they'll understand, as opposed to just accepting that they said they understood, right? You have the answers they need. Maybe not, right? They said they understood, so I'm going to let them walk in their understanding. And if we're on the same page, then life will show me that. And if not, life will show them. And that's not on no revenge type stuff, because that's what it sounds like. But it'll just be like, hey, we'll both realize I thought this is what it was, but this is not what I'm seeing. So can we talk again? And I'm open to that conversation. But up until that point, I said what I had to say. You said you understood, so I'm gonna move accordingly. But the reevaluation then comes in with, okay, you decided how you wanted to moving forward. What does the change now mean for you? Now that it's official, right? Everyone's been put on game, everybody knows what's up. Now that it's official, what does this change mean for you? And that's the season that I'm in now, having had these conversations. What do I now do differently? How does it, what space does it free up? Like, I keep saying housekeeping. I'm not sure why that is coming up so much for me, but I'm gonna, oh gosh, this is bothersome. This is a new one. Usually it's my scalp, the top of my head gets all tingly and itchy and stuff when I feel like there's a connection, but today it's my little nosy. That's interesting. I also have been feeling like, and this is in the same vein, the reevaluation of myself after having had these hard conversations. I also feel like I've been noticing changes in my spirit team. Like there's been a changing of the guards. I feel like a lifting of myself. I feel like these conversations and why I need to make this reevaluation are happening because of a leveling up within myself, a change within myself, growth within myself, that not only gave me the strength and the empowerment to have those conversations, because there was once upon a time where I wasn't even trying to do all this, right? To be able to say to someone, hey, I love you, but as of right now, I don't like you because our dynamic is not where it needs to be by my assessment, right? And maybe I'm misunderstanding things, and that's why I decided I need to start having these conversations, because maybe I'm not understanding and I'm the one that needs the refresher, right? So can we have this conversation, because right now there's a point of contention and I need it to be released, because I'm not trying to walk through life this way, right? So now that these things have been released, burdens have been released, I've cleaned house a little bit, right? Now I feel less weight on certain situations, on myself and as a whole, right? And the reevaluation for me is finding out where that weight was released, from where that weight was released, right? Where did it come from? But overall, standing back, zoomed out, I know that there has been a positive change that came before, during, and after these conversations. And so for that, I'm thankful. And I need to work on celebrating that, because I did finally do my tarot reading before coming on here, and maybe that's why Spirit is in the building. But I got the message that I do need to work on celebrating. I need to connect with people that are well versed in celebrating themselves and their accomplishments, no matter how small. And so I definitely need to work on that within myself. And so patting myself on the back once again, because I know that there's growth. I know that there's change. With that comes a level of, like, which this is a perfect segue into our next topic, but there comes a level of insecurity or uncertainty, because I don't necessarily know, like, once you level up, you're back to being a beginner, right? If that makes sense. Now that you're on this new level, you've excelled and become an expert in all the things that level 1 requires. Now that you're on to level 2, you're a beginner. And even though you're coming with your level 1 foundation, you're still a beginner to all of level 2. It's like going to middle school, right? You made it to 6th grade, you're big dog, top of the food chain or whatever. That's how my school was. I know that most middle school started 6th grade, so okay, we'll go to 5th grade. You made it to 5th grade, top of the food chain, you're the big dog. Now you got to go to middle school, 6th grade, and you're back to being, right? Or middle school to high school. You made it to 8th grade, top dog, biggest ones in your class. Now you go to high school and you're a freshman. Okay? So every time that you matriculate to the next level, you're back to being a beginner. So I still have that even though I understand and I feel it, I feel it, that there was a leveling up, I also recognize that there's so much that I don't know. Oh, now I got Erykah Badu. The man who knows something knows that he knows nothing at all. Right? I hope that's the cadence. That's the part. Either way, that's what it feels like, right? I know that I know something, but now that I'm on this next level, right? I have to celebrate that I've achieved growth and I've achieved something. But now that I'm on this next level, I know that there's so much more that I don't know. So, preparing myself mentally, physically, and spiritually for this next level is where I'm at. So, I wanted to segue into the next topic, next and final topic of uncertainty versus insecurity. Now, this came up in a Facebook post. I can't remember if it was last night or some other time. Could have been this morning. I don't know. But they discussed the dynamic of uncertainty versus insecurity. And for me, how it clicked was in the idea of romantic relationships. I've always been described as insecure. And I've been working through my understanding or even my defense of that in some cases, where it's like, yes, of course I'm insecure because you haven't given me what I need to create a solid foundation, right? So when I think about insecurity, especially in that context, it's like as if you're walking on shaky ground with a bunch of cracks in it, and any pieces could fall away at any given time. And so anybody walking across that would feel not secure, which is how I've broken down insecure, right? The in meaning not, anti, and insecure meaning safe. So no, I don't feel safe walking along this shaky ground. What if we thought of a rope bridge? We're back in our wilderness, right? We're taking this rope bridge across a canyon, and it's been there for a while. There's pieces missing. You can see ropes falling off as I'm looking across the bridge, and you're getting mad at me or upset with me or looking down on me because I'm moving slowly across this bridge, or I'm holding on to things that look strong and secure as I'm walking across this bridge, or I'm back on the other end like, nah, I'm not doing it. That becomes a me problem as opposed to a you problem, because you're not reinforcing the bridge. You're not participating in the restructuring of this bridge and making it safe for me to get across. So that's how I've rationalized insecurity in relationship, and this is in regards to specific dynamics. I'm not ever going to suggest that I don't have personal insecurities that affect my romantic relationships. I completely 1000%, if anybody is aware of, now my head is tingling. If anybody is aware of how my insecurities, or how aware I am of my insecurities, then you know me very well. I know where I believe I fall short, right? I'm well versed in it. But this goes beyond that. This is something that exacerbates that. This is something that isn't just me, right? And so what this concept and what these two words kind of offered to me is a whole new language I've been wanting to shy away from, despite having broken down insecurity in the way that I have to make it make sense for me and my situations. I still wanted to not even have to use that word because I feel like it's been used as a weapon against me. And I don't want it to have that kind of power anymore. So to be offered this word of uncertainty, it's like music to my ears. It's perfect. It's amazing. It's beautiful, because what it does is takes all of the responsibility off of me, which is what happens when we use a word like insecurity, because people then instantly assign it to you. It becomes your scarlet letter, and everything that you do is as a result of your insecurities, as opposed to uncertainty, which is a reflection of the circumstance in and of itself, right? And that circumstance requires both people in order for it to be what it is, right? So uncertainty feels like freedom. However ironic or weird that might sound, in this context, uncertainty feels like freedom because it says that um, I'm not not safe. I got me, right? Despite my insecurities I might have about myself, in this situation, in this circumstance, I got me. I'm going to look out for me. I'm going to take care of me. But I'm uncertain about how much of um, I'm going to take care of me, and knowing me, right? Knowing who I am and what it is that I desire. I'm entering in this situation knowing that, and that I'm going to put that same effort and energy into this situation. What I'm uncertain about, as opposed to being insecure, what I'm uncertain about is your efforts, your level of investment into this situation. What is it that you are bringing? Who are you someone who wants to take care of and nurture this situation, help to reinforce this bridge, help to rebuild this bridge so that we can both get across this canyon safely? Or are you someone who is running ahead because you've been here many a time before, you have no desire or reason to explain anything to me, that you don't want us to do this together, that you don't want us to rebuild together, however it plays out, right? I'm uncertain about your motives, your practices. So until I feel that certainty, or until I feel like that certainty is being fostered, am I being insecure, or is this just not a secure situation for me, not a safe situation for me? I hope that makes sense, because it was real freeing for me, so I had to share that and let y'all know how it works for me, right? How that'll apply to me. But I love to hear your thoughts on uncertainty versus insecurity. Where are you? What does it mean to you? Does it matter? May not matter. May only be for me, and that's okay too. Either way, that's all that I have to talk about for today, for this week. I really hope that y'all are doing well. Stay blessed, all that good stuff. Practical practice for this week is to act before you think. What? I know. I am definitely someone who has to think everything through before I take action, before I make a decision. But this week, I'm calling me and you to act before you think. There is very much a baseline, and like I've been saying this whole time, there's a level of knowing yourself and what you truly desire, right? I have my 4 questions. Who are you? What do you want? Where are you going? How will you get there? So knowing yourself and what it is that you truly desire is going to set you up for creating your baseline. Think about it as like a bowling lane. You put the bumpers on the lane, the ball can go anywhere in between those 2 bumpers. It's still going to make it down to the end. It's not going to go into the gutter. So don't allow yourself to go into the gutter. Know who you are, know what you desire, and move through life within those 2 bounds, free to pivot and make on the moment decisions, in the moment decisions, on the spot decisions about whatever life is asking of you in that moment, right? You can also press those limits, right? Get right up against them so that you know the full breadth of what it is that you have to offer, of who it is that you are. So if you're in a situation that's new to you, you could choose to think about all the times that you've been in a similar situation and the actions that you've taken and take those same actions, or you could just allow the moment to dictate what it is and then determine who you are within these particular sets of circumstances, right? Find out, learn who you are in these new sets of circumstances. When it comes to what it is that you truly desire, you can either maintain that list that you've had for I don't know how many years, or you can have that list, and then based on the situation and the circumstances that are right in front of you, you can take an action, make a choice, make a decision, and see if that affects the list in any way, shape, or form. So just be in the moment, act on it, and then think about it, reassess afterwards, and see where that takes you. Um, See how far you can press your bounds, and know that you are you, so you'll be fine. Okay. Um, that is our practical practice. Let's go ahead and pull a couple of cards just to see. Whew. That's a good one. That was a good little conversation that we've had, y'all. I appreciate the love, the energy. Oh gosh. We'll go with peel back the layers. Have you met your relationship goals? Oh, that was way too many. So we'll stop there. Oh, no, wait. It feels like there's one more. Hold on. There's one more in here for us. And I'm going to read. There it is. Okay. And light up, okay? So, light up. This was a meditation method that encourages you to draw or to envision a ball of light that's drawing up from the bottom of your feet all the way up throughout the top of your head, right? So, filling yourself with light, knowing that you are a conduit, you are a wire for light and love and good energy, good vibes, and learning and understanding, and all of that can come through you the same way a light can shine its way from or spiritual light can shine its way from the bottom of your feet out through the top of your head. So light up this little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. Peel back the layers. So this is about, again, asking why, interviewing yourself, reevaluating after having hard conversations, reevaluating after making in the moment decisions that are in alignment with who you know you are and what it is that you truly desire. Peel back the layers and come to a better understanding of what's going on. Why did you make those decisions? Maybe you know who you are in very specific circumstances where you're in control, but what about the situations where you're not so much in control, where you may have to ask for help, or you may not be as well versed? Who are you in those situations? How do you behave? And maybe those are some things that you could peel back the layers on after you learn what those might be. You can peel back the layers and figure out why do I react this way? Why was I triggered in that way? Why did I make the decision that I made? And then see what that teaches you about you. You might learn something new that you love, or yeah. We'll stop there. We'll see positive. And then I'm going to read this one, but it's, have you met your relationship goals? Have you built a relationship with you? Our ultimate relationship goal should be to build a loving and symbolic relationship with our mind, body, and spirit. And that takes cultivating and care. In a controlled, meditative state, it's easier to acknowledge what's being sent to you, but can you do the same as you go throughout your day? Bruh, did I not just say this? What? Okay, I didn't remember. This is why I wanted to read it, because I didn't remember what it said. Are you aware of your narrative throughout the day? Do you accept your body's cues throughout the day? Does your intuition have any influence before you make a decision? Today, take time to cultivate your relationship with self. Just check in. It seems like a lot to pay attention to, but if you can take cues from a whole other person, you can certainly take them from your own self, right? So this is referring to the way that you would behave in a relationship with somebody else, wherein you want, or that you would want someone else to behave in a relationship with you, wherein you pay attention to their emotions and their mood and their attitude, and did you have a good day, asking those questions and really reflecting on what that means, having that full conversation. Everything that you would want in a day-to-day relationship with somebody else, give that to yourself, right? Have you met your relationship goals, which would be any and everything that you would want in a relationship with somebody else? Give that to yourself, your mind, body, and spirit. Pay attention to the ways that you're thinking. Pay attention to what it is your body needs and is asking of you. Pay attention to what your spirit wants. All of those things are important. So those are our 3 cards, things that we should pay attention to this week. That's exciting. We're going to do a Lil Homie. See what our friend has to say to us. Let's see. You've already won. That's always nice to hear. So don't worry about assessing beforehand. This is speaking to, for me, the act before you think. It's for your benefit, right? You've already won. It's going to move the needle forward for you, whatever the direction might be. It feels like put a ring on it, or the ultimatum, right? You're going to get answers, those two shows. You're going to get answers as a result of being a part of this experiment, right? So whether or not you stay together, whether or not you decide this is where I want to be, or you move forward knowing, okay, I did everything I could to be in that relationship, and now I know that it's no longer for me. The same thing can be said for this assessment. Are you going to hold true to what you've been are you going to hold on to what you've been doing, or who you know yourself to be now, or are you going to allow something else to come in? Are you going to hold on to the stringent requirements and a word with a C, requirements, anyway, the stringent requirements of what it is that you desire? Does it have to meet this perfect criteria? That's the word I was looking for. Does it have to meet this criteria, this very specific criteria, or can you allow something else to come in? Can you adjust? Can you compromise? Whatever the case. So the last and final card that I'm getting, okay, what does it mean to you? Okay, so what that speaks to me for is when we're doing this act before you think, something that may come in. What does it mean to you to hold your ground in this moment? Does it mean that you are protecting yourself and blocking something out? Or when you really stop and think about it and peel back the layers, does it mean that you are holding something in? Right? Keeping something in. Are you keeping something out that could be serving you, that could be helping you? Are you putting up a wall that you are telling yourself, because you've been doing it for so long, that this is protecting you, that this is for your benefit? Are you putting up a wall that isn't allowing something to come in? That isn't letting it be a part of your experience, this new level, right? So maybe this is happening because you have reached a new level and you have to just get out and experience it so that you can know what questions to ask, as opposed to waiting in the classroom, trying to come up with answers that you don't have the context for, because you're in a new space. You're in a whole new school, a whole new building. You don't know where everything is. You haven't figured out the lay of the land like you did in your last institution, right? You're on this new level that has a new layout that you now have to learn. So that means act, get out there, experience it, get lost, see what it means to you, see how it's reflected in you, peel back those layers to better understand it to you, better understand it for yourself. What's your decision? So somebody has a decision to make, and after gaining this information, you will be asked, okay, so what's your decision? Now what? What are you going to do with this newfound information? Maybe you had some hard conversations, you peeled back the layers, and you decided, okay, I need, that's not the kind of friendship that I need or want or am looking for. I need friends that are really supportive. So what's your decision? What are you going to do now? What actions do you take now as a result of knowing that? Okay? So those are all the cards that we have. Back of the deck says, you know what you want. Stop fighting yourself. You know what you want. You know what you desire. You know what's on your heart. Stop worrying about all the extra stuff. Stop trying to make it into something that it isn't. Allow it to be what it is, because that's important too, obviously, or else it wouldn't be. And then do what you gotta do. Alrighty? So we're gonna stop there. I thank you all so much for sharing your energy with me. I love this time that I get to spend doing this. I look forward to seeing how much it grows as a result of my growth. And yeah, until next time, love you. Bye.